And welcome back to another episode of We Making It Woo. Remember, this is your weekly look into all things guys. The friend zone tagline is really in my brain. I'm really going to work on it. But it's a weekly conversation around success so that we can create some access so that we can all progress. You know, if you want to know what it looks like to be successful in your 20s, I just want you to keep listening. If you want to be a part of the conversation, email me. Yes, you can DM me also or Facebook Messenger me. I'm really accessible in this way. But my email is katiesmiles.nyc. That's Katie because it's my name. Smiles because my smile is what? I don't even have to say it. .nyc because that is where we at what happened last night. So we are recording on a little bit of a different day today because, as you know, I try to accommodate my guests. So what happened last night was so many things happened last night. Because yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, so shout out to Emily Tellier, the boo. She had a show yesterday morning, so last night we talked about it. Shout out to my Gigi. My Gigi's not feeling very well. My Gigi's my great grandmother. She's the bomb.com in so many ways. And so Gigi, I know you can't listen to this podcast because I don't know how. I don't think you have Spotify. But I love you so much, and I just love you so much, and I'm thinking about you always. I am still reading Notes from a Chef by Kwame. Last name's ONS something. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. But y'all, this book is so good. If you are reading it, I'm not gonna give you any spoiler alerts. But what I love so much, so it's I'm Kwame. I'm gonna totally butcher this, but Onwuachi, Onwuachi. As I said in the last episode, he's a chef. He had 2 restaurants in DC, one that closed and one that's still open. It's a really, really touching memoir. I think there's such a nuance to his life story, and I'm just having a really good time reading it. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. That said, we are venturing off, tangentially crossing over into some new creative processes. For those who don't know, I sing. If you saw Collective Terrains, you saw me singing last weekend with Tatiana Tenenbaum and Jasmine Hearn. Shout out to them. And so I've been really thinking about how can the podcast be reflective of where I'm at right now, which is not only dancing but also singing. As you guys know, I usually talk to choreographers and dancers about what they're making, and so it is a privilege and also super exciting for me to talk to a musician of sorts, I'll say. My special guest musician of sorts. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. Hello. My name is Jaibee. So it's always a funny thing. Like, my full name is Jessica Brittany.
Yes, I saw.
Hyphen included. But I was always like, what's going to work? And then I had to join the Actors Union. I was like, oh, what makes sense for music and both? So I'm Jaibee.
Yes, I met JB, Super Small World, as I think they call them work study people at Ailey. If you don't know, I also did work study at Ailey. I worked in a lot of places, guys. And I met JB, and we were talking, and then she played me some stuff on my SoundCloud, and I was like, oh, I love this sound. And then at the time, I had the web series. I didn't have the podcast.
Word.
And JB reached out and said that she had a show, and I had seen her on Instagram doing her thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to get on the podcast so we can just start this conversation around another creative process that I think is super similar to dance, but also super different, and I think is complementing to the conversations we have around here around access to success, so we can all progress. Yes. So JB has a show coming up at the
Bowery Electric. Bowery Electric, which I believe it's downtown at 7:00. Doors open.
Yes.
It's $5, so it's nothing crazy. I'm not trying to break anybody's bank here.
No.
But yeah, I'm just playing a few songs. So I believe we play about 4 songs. My set's about 30 minutes, so got to be on time.
Yes. Are you opening the show? Are you in the middle of the show?
So I am opening the show, which is weird and cool. Because I don't know the other acts that I'm on with. So that's kind of cool. And I can't decide yet if I want to just go blank slate and like receive them in their live sense, or if I want to like brush up and get to know them.
Literally,
You know,
I was just about to ask, so let's get right into it.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about a lot bit about how you got this opportunity.
Yeah, well, I think going back to something that you said that's super, super important, that while I think all these different creative fields sort of have their specificity of their craft and the way to go about them, they are all creative processes. I don't even know. But so they lend themselves to different skills and different ways of addressing it. But definitely, I feel like the tenets of what you need are the same. So you need the discipline, you need the practice, you need the honesty with yourself. You need the lack of judgment. All of that is important. So I definitely feel like they translate. But this project, how this particular opportunity came into place is just like, also, you never know who you know. Right. And it's so important to just support your own community, and you just never know what will come out of that. Because funny thing is, like, I don't know how I got this opportunity. I do know the person I've been corresponding with. She's a dear. Her name is Stephanie. She is, I believe she's a talent buyer. So I think she finds different performers for the different spaces that she hosts. But like, I'm pretty sure this is a random DM that somebody, I was reading through someone's story, and they were like, yo, like, if you're a performer and you want this dope opportunity, and I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I'll just send an email. And it was one of those days where, like, I feel like every artist has this days, but where you always feel like you're not doing enough, or you're not far enough along in your journey. So I was like, oh, this is probably not going to turn out anything. And like, I don't even know who this person is, but whatever, I'm just going to do it. Put it out in the universe. Yeah. And so, I put it out and I received it. So
there you
that's
go.
how it happened. I sent my info. She was pretty down. I sent her some. So it's funny, when I met you, I was working on completing this project that now is like done and is being birthed out into the universe. So that's really awesome. And it was cool because I originally showed you like my acoustic stuff.
Yes, and I loved it.
And then I showed her my other stuff. She was like, you know what? I dig the acoustic better. And I was like, hey,
I love. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a sucker for everything acoustic. I just think that there's so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be an acoustic set. I pay homage to both Sade, shout out, and wherever you are, you have inspired all of us. We love you. Up to the heavens. Not even to the heavens, just up and out. We send it to you.
So I do a Sade cover, I do a Nancy Wilson cover, and then I believe I do 2 original songs. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna do a SZA cover. I don't know how people feel about SZA. I love her. I think she's a phenomenal songwriter. But anyway, so I'm excited. It's great when you get to do something acoustic. Yeah. Especially, I've never done something acoustic in a space that's so large. Yeah. So when you have intimate spaces, it's kind of easier to do it acoustic because you're like, I'm here. But so I'm excited to see how that translates.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about how you entered. So you got the project, right?
Word.
How did you decide these are the things that I'm going to do? These are the things that I'm going to share.
Oh man, do we ever get to decide what we want to share? It just comes out, right? And then we're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. That's way honest.
Maybe.
No, curious. No. So this project, so it's called FLSW. It will be coming out later in 2019. I'm very, very particular about how I want this project to come out. Yeah. So it's taking a very long time. And it's been, as I've been growing, the project has been growing. So originally it started out as me wanting to collab with a friend who's a producer. Shout out Pages Music. You can find him on Instagram. Yeah. All the things. He's an incredible hip hop producer. And my sound is kind of like, I always used to think, I told you this a little bit of my backstory, but I always was like, oh, I don't sound what like a normal black girl sounds like. So I can't do R&B. I can't do this. And like, screw that. If you're black, you're black. Your experience is black. Therefore, it is black. And that's what I had to learn. But so originally it just kind of started off as me playing around with these beats. Mm-hmm. And it was actually, I was in a relationship, started playing around with beats, and then like broke out of that relationship. So I had all this like heartbreak. It was my first real heartbreak, my first like really time falling in love. And I was like, oh my God. So that was such a release for me to just write. Yeah. And then as I continued that process, it sort of grew. These songs came out of these different experiences. What did abandonment feel like? What did it feel like to be ghosted, or what did it feel like to be so intimate with someone? And then not know how to follow up with that. And
Right.
as I was writing these songs, I found that more and more my journey about these breakups was more about my inner journey of loving myself and finding me.
Yeah.
So that was really special. So it kind of came this thing of, oh, you think you're listening to a breakup song, or I thought I was even writing a breakup song, and it actually ended up being about how I was bringing myself together.
Yes.
So the project is called FLSW. It stands for I'll have to come up with another name for something else, but F love and smoke weed. But that's not actually what it's about. But the idea of that philosophy, like finding your own journey, finding the things that hold you back, and then just kind of releasing. So
yeah.
the second I kind of grasped that it was this love letter to myself that kind of
Mhm.
formed through heartbreaks, I was able to start visualizing concepts. So we have the lemonade, and of course we have Solange, but what did it look like to be a storyteller through song? And so I started getting some visuals together and talking to some friends who are directors and producers, and
Yeah.
so now I'm putting together a campaign to raise $20,000 for these videos. I'll let all y'all know.
Yes.
So that's beautiful. So that's the project. That is it in fulfillment. So it's 5 songs, 4 videos, or like a short film aspect to it. But
Yes.
it now that in hindsight, I said all that. That was a lot. Sorry, y'all. But it was really about me just taking the steps along my journey and following what was speaking at the time and not questioning it, because I don't
Yeah.
think I knew what the end was going to be. Like, I didn't even identify as a singer 4 years ago when I started writing this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of crazy how things sort of align and then fall into place. But
Yeah.
it was just
So
about
then-
getting stuff out.
How did you decide that you were gonna do 2 covers? These actually 2 particular covers, and then the 2 original songs that you're gonna do. How did you decide that that's what you were gonna do for this venue?
Yeah, so this is actually, so I'm really, really lucky. Gray Hall, he's an incredible guitarist. I think he goes by Spacey_Gray on Instagram, but
Shout out to him.
he's amazing. Finding someone who knows how to meld with you and listen to your breath and just like, I appreciate great musicians. I really, really do.
Yeah.
So he kind of came into the picture later on, but this set started when I discovered that I was really into music. It started when I was just with my friend / ex at the time. We would just stay in the studio and kind of jam for a little bit. And originally we had came out with this project that I showed you on SoundCloud called Loving versus Virginia.
Yeah.
So it was in celebration of Loving Day, which is the national day that represents the court case that allowed interracial couples to be married. And
right.
I think it's such a supreme court case to look back on, because it's kind of set the precedent for the legalization of gay marriage. So it's kind of beautiful in that way. So it happened in that year, and we were just coming up with songs that I love. So I went back to my wheelhouse, which is like jazz, and I was like, how can I approach these songs that I love? So that's where the Sade cover came from.
Okay.
I guess I'll give it away for those of you who won't see it, but I do a little kind of like almost like a bluesy version of Is It a Crime?
Yeah.
And Save Your Love for Me by Nancy Wilson. And those 2 songs don't sound anything like the original. So I was really inspired by that too, of how do you take something that is so personal to you but so unique at the same time and make it your own, but sticking to the original. So the songs sound completely different,
right,
but somehow the melody is in there.
Yeah, and the words are the same.
The words are the same.
Yeah.
The breaths or the phrases are the same. And
Yeah.
so that was cool. And then, there's a song called Blue Words that is mine, and I love it. And it's a very vulnerable song to perform. It's about kind of getting to that space where you need words of affirmation, where you need friends and you need support and you need family. And how do you ask for that? What are those blue words that you ask from people? And that's what the song is about.
Right.
So there was something about all of those songs being acoustic and the energy that I was able to give and the release that I was able to have. I would notice that when I performed these songs, I couldn't, as nervous as I would be or as shaky as I would be, it wasn't about myself. It was about what the material was, and I knew I could give over to them.
That's amazing.
So that's how those 3 songs came about. And then the last song, Stay Away, is kind of cool because it's off of my new project, FLSW. So it's something that was produced that was super like not at all acoustic, and then we transformed it into that. So it's funny because I actually sent Gray these 2 songs. I sent him this song, Stay Away, as like a freebie, being like, oh, let's do these 2 songs for sure, but don't really listen to this one other song. And then he was like, actually, I listened to that one other song. Here's what I'm thinking. And then it stuck. So people really enjoy it so far. I'm excited to share it. But that's how this little set came into fruition.
You talked a lot about love. You talked a lot about how do we almost like reimagine. I think of it as like reimagining our memories in a way that's shareable rather than what's the word? Holding, like gripping. And I think that those are two really, really brilliant concepts. Going into this performance in terms of thinking about love and thinking about these memories that we can share in a place that's comfortable for us, but also comfortable for the audience. Yeah, where are you in that space?
I would say that's such a great question. One, just to kind of circle back to what you said, I'm a big believer in love as being like, it's my, like, if I had a platform, that's what it'd be like. Love yourself, stay love struck. I think it's so powerful, and I think it allows us to overcome a lot of those things that may allow us to not want to share, or to be, to put our guards up, or to say it has to look like this, right? So I think my commitment to sharing that somehow in that journey, it's able to be expressed. But I like what you said about the difference between holding and gripping versus just having. I think that's what we're supposed to do with memories. It's why we have a past. We remember. It's supposed to teach us. And so I think if we're able to access those moments without holding on to and gripping, right? Because we don't want to stay in the same place.
Sometimes.
Sometimes we do. But
I
you know,
I have time with
me
something.
too. Me too. Look, it's a process and a journey. But I think accessing that place of allowing me to say like, hey, I've been here, but you've been here too. I can get through it. Or maybe, you know, you've gotten through it. Maybe I can get that from you. And I will say the most amazing thing is to look in people's eyes. Like that is my favorite thing to do when I'm singing, even though it's the most terrifying.
In a way.
Because I can't BS it then, you know what I mean? And so even my goal, there's this Nina Simone quote that says like, sometimes I sound like gravel, sometimes I sound like coffee. I forget what the quote is, but that's my goal, is like, if I focus on being honest and sharing and giving, then all the other stuff, I mean, it's definitely there. I'm definitely like, oh my God, am I going to cry during the song? I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be able to hit this note because I'm thinking about this one time. Ooh. But, you know, just focusing and I think and giving that and sharing is kind of the space that I'm in. So whatever presently comes from that, I'm open to. So sometimes that means a note not sounding exactly what I thought it would be, or going along with the rhythm, and maybe it's a little different, but I think actively trying to do that is almost harder than just releasing into whatever happens. If that makes sense.
Yeah, in a way. And I think I'm speaking from personal experience too. Yeah. But I do, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do. So you said earlier too that you felt like you could really fall into these songs in a way. And so do you feel like these particular 4 songs too are really creating access for you to kind of sit in this like bed of the roses a bit? Like you don't have to like be on, you can sit in the center of them and not feel, you can remain open rather than feeling a bit closed off or feeling like you need to be.
No, I totally hear. I think what helps, and that at least for me, is that minus the Sade and Nancy Wilson song, but even that, they're my own adaptations or my telling. So because of that, it's almost way more refreshing than trying to sing a cover the way that it sounded, or trying to perform someone else's song. It's like I don't have to be right because it's already coming from me. So
it's already right.
Right. Like valid. whatever's going to come from that space is valid and like will allow me to sit in it. So it's kind of nice because sometimes I do get, it's funny because I start counting down the days before my mind works kind of crazy. So it kind of hit me. I was like, oh my God, it's like, it's a week. You know what I mean? And I have those moments and I'm kind of crazy. Like I try and sing the songs at least like 5 times a day before I perform, like at least a minimum. So there's this constant practice. So my hope is that in that like rehearsal, we were talking about that discipline space, then you once you're there, you kind of allow all that stuff to fall away.
Like your muscle memory will hold you more than you need to.
Totally. So
like
it's
your body knows.
And that trust that it will. And I think that's the hardest thing for me is like the last performance, it's funny, we did on April 15th, which was exactly a month before. I didn't feel the sense of release that I had wanted to. Granted, I didn't feel as prepared. Like I think I kind of was like, it was a performance I was doing for a friend's concert, so I definitely forgot. And last second she was like, so remember, and I was like, oh my goodness. But I think that speaking of like that release and that space, once I'm there and I know that this is mine, it's like, well, whatever, as long as it's honest and it's giving.
And I think that's amazing too. I think because I've been, okay, so let me preface, working with this woman named Jasmine Hearn. Shout out to you, Jasmine.
Hey.
Jasmine is an amazing artist. And I was talking to someone recently about her ownership. Like, what I think is so profound when I watch her on stage is that she owns everything. Like, I feel like she owns the space when she walks in through the door. Not in a way of ego or like pride, but like every choice that she makes, she's sitting in it. She's not questioning in it. It's her choice, for better or for worse. And watching that is such a not only a gift, but it's something to really, for me, like, work towards, because I'm like, and I bring it up because it sounds exactly like what you're saying too. Like, my choice, I can sit in it because it's mine. Like, I literally don't have to do anything else except what I want to do, and we're good. Like, anything else is extra. Like, I think it just really, I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I am enough, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. But to see, because I hate those like tag phrases and like these, not cliche, they're a little bit worse than cliches, because I think cliches are kind of cute, but these
I know what you mean.
These phrases that are given in class that can seem just like phrases, but
very contrite,
but when I see them, I'm like, oh no,
that's what it is.
This is real,
right?
I guess having those words with the body in an embodied space, I'm like, oh no,
right.
I got you.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I think in the age of social media too, it's a little where you constantly bombarded with like advice from here or this theme or this or this hashtag, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do understand that feeling. It could get a bit of exhausting. Like, okay, we get it. I'm enough. Like self-love. But I think if you're able to take those little things and see how they could actually apply in your life, then they make such a difference, because it's not about I am enough and being the best me I am. It's just like, no, I'm enough in this moment. That like what I was given and these words and my breath, that's it. Yeah. And like taking the space to be like that's okay.
And to watch it. To watch it, and I'm so excited to see your set, but to watch it, to me, that makes the words almost all worthwhile. Because especially to be so close to, like, to work in process with her too, because what she's basically doing is she's teaching me to cultivate that. That's rather than, I feel like growing up, it was this other voice, and I was cultivating those choices, and they were great, guys. I love my dance training. It's really set a foundation for me, but it's a whole nother thing when somebody's creative process is basically trying to get you to sit in the bed of you rather than to sit in the bed of something else. So I am so excited and
That's
so here for
beautiful.
this.
I'm so excied for you.
Yes.
That's really beautiful.
Switching gears just a little bit, though. We got a little deep. Can you tell me a little bit about how you finance the creative process to get you to this set? Because we always talk about, how we getting there, how we making it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still figuring it out. It's so funny. Like when you shot me that text, I was like, yo. I mean, it's so like, funny.
Do you rehearse at home or do you?
So I do not rehearse at home. I mean, I do rehearse by myself, but there's only so much that I can go. I will say I'm really, once again, Gray, you're amazing. Shout out to Spacey Gray. He's really incredible. So his memory is kind of insane. Yeah. Where it's like we can go over a song once and he knows it, but he's also open to allowing you to rest easy. So it's kind of, I will say this is almost the easiest rehearsal process, one, because of his flexibility and agility and just skill, but also I've been doing these songs now which is crazy. I don't think about it, but 2014, that's 5 years. So it's not, and when I say doing, I mean, like, I've been working with them, sometimes performing them here and there, but it's, so it's not, something like rehearsing with a new band or something where I have
Right.
to meet like,
Right.
so
You're not built. You've built quite a bit of a foundation for
right,
your work, so you
exactly.
can kind of rest easy.
Exactly. But I'm also, this is like, some people won't love this, but especially with material that you're so familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in over rehearsing, but I believe in overthinking the process of what you need to do.
Okay. What is overthinking look
So you could have 5 rehearsals and only 2 of them actually be fruitful. You can go through a song like 15 times, but are you really focusing on each note and each breath and each intention that you have? And
like?
so that is one thing that I found working with Gray, that it's really beneficial for me and for us to have. I think we're having 2 rehearsals for this. Granted, we did it about a month ago, but we're meeting on Saturday and then on Monday.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's, I think that, but I think that's also because I've been, these songs have lived in me for so long.
Right. Right.
But I mean, in terms of finances, like I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So just even to come into the city is a little bit of money. And then you're thinking of trekking out to Brooklyn if I'm in Jersey or wherever it is. So there's definitely, I think sometimes too, we talk about, which is funny, I'm just realizing this, we talk about the creative pursuit as just money being the thing that is being expended, but it's also time and energy.
Yes, which we're going to segue to in just a second.
Which
so you just stay tuned.
But so that's definitely, but I would say, I mean, right now I'm just doing that artist hustle. So I nanny. That's a big, I love kids. I don't ever want to be a professional teacher, but it's a gift. I'm very grateful from God that I like see they're little humans. I think then they're amazing, and they're just more open than
they are
older humans, but they're little humans.
They are.
And I really enjoy working with them. So I'm a nanny. I'm also a teacher's assistant, which I work full time. So that's kind of crazy. I'm also a stylist at Anthropology.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think. There's
and then you're also like fundraising.
Also fundraising. And then I also, which is really funny, I never thought I would do this, but I'm also songwriting on the side too. It's just like a hustle, not even just be like, oh, you need a chorus? Oh, you need this? So those are sort of my little side hustles. And until I don't need them no more.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep checking.
And how does it work in terms of when you have this venue? Do you have to pay the venue? Do you pay your musician? Do you pay yourself?
Right.
Like when you have
so it depends. Like right. So definitely I think different venues have different ways of working. I know for this particular venue, I think the first $25, I get the money goes back to me, which is really exciting. So it wasn't like amazing. I had to, and tickets are $5. So that means I'm getting 5 people to attend at least, which I hope y'all will come. So that'll be great, but that'll be awesome because then, that I think it'll motivate me in a different way that I'm not expecting right now. But I think also it's funny because it's like that money is going to go straight back into making sure I can do this again. And so I think they have a package of like getting your recording and getting your sounding. I'm like, well, that's probably going to be where that money's going to go to.
Yeah. And also a shout out to them for just giving you the opportunity to reinvest in yourself.
Totally.
Shout out to Electric Bowery
Electric.
I really need to say your name right. Bowery Electric. Bowery Electric.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. They're great. I'm very, very excited. So that's how that works.
Yeah.
Also it's like, as much as I love Gray, he ain't free. So still making sure that, like, of course I'm going to compensate him for his time, and see like how that works. So, it's all a process.
Yes. And lastly, but certainly not least, how are you maintaining, whatever wellness looks like for you as you prepare for this show? It is May. It's mental health awareness month. And also, guys, if you've been listening to the podcast since day one, I'm a huge advocate for whatever wellness looks like for you. I think being a creative has gotten a really bad rep for being unhealthy and like glorifying it. And that's just not me. So obviously I ain't gonna be walking around here talking to y'all and not ask this question. So just have to preface that conversation with that little plug. But yes, how are you doing? What are you doing? How is it going? With all of things wellness.
I was laughing because as I walked in here, I had my faux dinner of popcorn and gummy bears. So it's going great. No, it's going really, really well. I will say that I think similar to those like Instagram things or whatever can sound so trite, like I think the journey of self-love and self-care is a continuous one, and
Of
one that
course.
is like there's no end point for it. So
Right.
I'm a work in progress, just as we all are. So I'm constantly learning new ways to address my health and wellness in a way that will help me.
Yeah.
So right now I'm focusing on eating well. It's funny. I was laughing because I just started a detox. Actually, my mother's really, really crazy supportive. And I was like, I need someone. So for the past month, I've been doing like that smoothie life, like waking up and having a smoothie, a salad every single
Hey.
day, which is insane for me. I've always had a lot of water. So I believe in hydration, like
There we
hardcore,
go.
like try and get a half gallon in there a day.
Hey
It's not a
now.
gallon's difficult, but a half gallon is like, that's like 4 bottles of water.
I'm with you.
You
I need to be
know?
catching up to you.
Yay.
Girl, inspire me. Why don't you? Yes.
No, so that I would say so. I'm trying to get better about that and being environmentally conscious and also conscious about what I put into my body,
Yeah.
and why I put it into my body.
Yeah.
I think intention is a big thing that we forget when being, or at least I know I forget in terms of what I eat.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like
It's
I'll be
total
like, oh my goodness, my
functionality.
body wants this pint of ice cream, so I can have it, and then
Totally.
the next morning being like, oh, why do I not feel this way? And so, but also responding to when I do eat healthy and just recognizing that.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. But in terms of like, so that's like the physical wellness. I also run. I love
Hey
running.
now,
I
y'all.
love running.
I'm almost. Britt Falcon out there. Shout out to you. I'm almost approved
Get it,
to
Brit.
run. I gotta get new shoes. I had a really bad injury slash
Oh.
like I don't walk well. And she's like, basically, honey, if you can't walk well, you can't run just yet. So
Right.
I want to join you
Take your time.
until
Take your time.
you just wait until she approves.
There's
I'm gonna
this,
be out there.
I swear by this app that's amazing that if I ever have to do like some sort of like platform based or whatever off of a company, like Couch
Yeah.
to 5K, y'all, Couch to 5K.
Hey now.
They're amazing. And so I started, like, it's just an app, and I was like, I need to start some cardio that wasn't dance, because I used to dance, but then I stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, I need something that I can do on the regular consistently. So I started that app, and they kind
Yeah.
of take you through it, like walk this far and then run this far.
Yes.
And so now I'm up
Progressive overload.
to like,
Yes.
word. Yes. So now I'm up to 6 miles, which is
Hey
crazy.
now,
Like,
that's
I
amazing.
used to be one of those people that I thought I was gonna like die and run. Like, you know, on the news when they're like
Yes.
they just went too hard. I swore that was gonna be me, and it's not yet. So we'll see. But so I try and run at least like anywhere between 3 and 4 times a week. But I
Hey
really try and
now.
stick to that. If I can't, I can't, and that's a big thing too. I feel like with any journey of when you cannot, or when you can only go so far, not beating yourself up for it.
Right.
As difficult as that may feel.
Yes.
I know for me that's a continuous thing that I'm working on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it can be that way, especially with like our physical health. So,
Of course.
so I'm working on it. I feel really good about where I've been and where I've grown to this past year, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely trying to get movement back into my life and some more yoga.
Yeah.
There was a point in my life where I was like on it, and now I feel like I got to get back into it.
Do your thing.
But yeah, with time.
Yes.
And then I would say mentally, I mean, like I said before, I'm a big believer in like finding out whatever it is about you that you like don't like,
yeah.
or that you feel like you're too hard on yourself for. Like gentleness and love and kindness are like my thing. So I always say, like, there was a voice teacher that said to me once, and I was going through a pretty rough time, but I wasn't trying to express it externally. And she said, you know, the things that you say to yourself, would you ever say that to a best friend?
Right.
And I was like, and I had to really think about it.
Right. I've
And I
heard
was
this.
like,
I've heard this.
Oh my goodness, I would never. And so I just really try and maybe some people like to talk to their inner child, whatever it is.
Right.
But think of the way that you would talk to a child, or you would reprimand a child. You would never demean them. You would never want to make them so hurt to the point where they're crying or anything like that. You want to be soft with yourself. So that's something that I'm really working on, is definitely finding that space within myself. I do a gratitude list every single day.
I'm here for
it. Which is like somehow via Maya Angelou, which is crazy. There was this, I was going through a really, really bad depression.
Yeah.
Probably about 3 years ago, and I'm just really not feeling great, like waking up with a pit in my stomach, like why am I here, like that kind of like darkness. And at the same time, and Maya Angelou is like, she's a muse of mine. She's always, I feel like, an ancestor, like watching down. But there was a time when she went mute, and I don't know if this is like an anecdote that was passed along or if this is real, but my mother and I were talking about her.
Yeah.
And she was saying, you know, she talked about writing a gratitude list that just like write down 5 things that you're happy for. Just 5. It could be like the shirt that I'm wearing. The sun is out.
Right.
And so that journey has carried me through to a place where I'm not in that space of darkness, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a practice that I've kept up. So I write 5 things from the day before, 5 things from the present day. So I write a gratitude list. I read the Bible.
Hey now.
I'll wake up with a prayer.
Do your thing.
And I really aim to meditate. Sometimes I'm better at it than not, but it's like only even 5-10 minutes, but it makes a world of a difference.
It does.
So meditation, prayer, breath, gratitude.
Yes. And for those who don't know me, I have a gratitude wall with sticky notes and tape. I don't add to it every day, and it's getting kind of close to the floor. So I just left it at the point that I was like, okay, good. I also have like one of those light monikers where you can put the little letters on there, and it says gratitude. So I just want to let you know that you're supported. I did the gratitude list in college at night. I think I did them in the morning. So I just switched to things that work. I also am a huge advocate for meditating. I use Inside Timer. Y'all, there's like a sound with like water, but needless to say, so you're so supported. I hear you. I do some of the same things, and I just want to like, given that it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I just want to be really, really clear. When I started this podcast, it was really to be clear about what making it looks like. And I, just based on the people that I watch, shout out to Hey Friend Hey, shout out to Shameless Maya, shout out to Taraji P. Henson, shout out to Issa Rae. And these are just people that are huge that I've just like studied as much as I could. Mental health and mental wellness, though they all look different, I think it is such a big component to, I think, where they are. And I think oftentimes, at least from my perspective, I would go to these shows and I don't know how people are sustaining themselves. And then I would want to work for somebody to later find out that they were not about wellness. And they were just maybe had some abusive practices, which is totally fine. Like, I'm not, my intention is not to bash their process. Their process is their process. But it is for me to be clear. And also, if I have a platform, for me to be clear, but to be clear with my listeners that, like, wellness is something that I believe in. If I can do things with care, I will probably always do them with care. And so much of making it, whatever that means to me, includes an awareness of your mental health and how to move forward. And that is so I think invaluable to any life's work.
Totally. I mean, I think it's something we don't talk about enough. I think we talk about wellness and health in a way that feels very physically based and not in a way that is mental and spiritual. And I think that's almost like a large part of what the journey is.
Yeah. And that's why, on everybody on the podcast, you guys have heard, like Nana likes to journal. Jaibee has like 10 different journals. You can literally go back to the first episode. I love
I journal too. I believe in that.
I do too. And I technically right now I have multiple journals. Shout out to my mom. She sent me this new journal, so I just put the old one down and I write in this one because my mom sent it to me. So like I just want to show love to my mom. Yes, and I will. So just happy mental health awareness month. If you need any resources from me, I got you. I will gladly hook all the people up with whatever I got, so just let me know.
Same. My girl Sydney Rose, if you need, she's a really flexible therapist. She's amazing. She's willing to work with all different types of rates. So
yes, let us know. Lastly but surely not least, because we got to get up out of here, where can the people find you via social media? Please let them know once again about this upcoming performance. I'm trying to pull a look. I may have to spend a little money, girl, because I gotta be cute or whatever.
I mean, you're cute right now. Y'all don't know. She came in with the matching like prints and the color. Like, she looks so good. Thank you. This blazer, though. Can we talk about you with a rose blazer on right now?
Thank you. It's from Forever 21. I got it on sale last summer, and it was really nice
fly.
It was a nice statement piece.
She is fly, y'all.
Thank you.
So I'm Jaibee. You can. So my Instagram is it's _. I'll say that. So __JAIBEE. There's also JB Music Official. If you want to follow both pages, I would love you to do both. But you can find me either way. And please hit me up, DM me. Like, I'm really open and down to earth. And like, I love meeting new people and sharing space. So please hit me up. And please come to my show at Bowery Electric on May 15th, next Wednesday. Doors open at 7. Tickets are $5.
Get there, not on CP time. I don't care what color you are. CP time exists for multiple colors. Get that, because you know New Yorkers, y'all know y'all like to be late. I ascribe to this lateness too, but I'm gonna try to get there on time.
And please, I go on at 7:15, so I would it would be really, really happy to have like a full room. You know. And so so just show up, say that you're here to see JB, and then pay your $5 and say hey to me after. I would love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'd love to increase the conversation. So as always, beautiful people, I want you to make it live. I want you to make it breathe. I want you to make it as healthily as you possibly can. As healthily as you possibly can. I don't really care what that looks like for you. As long as it's healthy for you, I'm good. But as always, I just want you to make it. Bye, guys.
Struggling